Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new League of Legends video. So the big news recently is obviously the big AP Mage rework that has been announced and I think is most likely going to be hitting the PBE this coming Tuesday. For which, by the way, I will have a lot of videos coming out regarding all of these changes, so definitely stay tuned for that. But the reason I brought up that topic is because Riot has been doing quite a substantial amount of reworks, whether it's again to the AP Mages, maybe to someone like Tarek, or even someone like Poppy not too long ago. I mean, Riot is definitely innovating and they're also refreshing old kits and outdated kits. This is a fantastic way to keep the game more interesting and have people keep wanting to come back and consistently play more and more and more. But as I'm sure you guys saw through the title for this video, we will be talking about a potential rework that will be coming up sometime around the end of this year, around November or so. But this rework is going to be, as stated by a writer, to the Assassin class or the Assassin champions. But remember guys, this isn't 100% final. There is going to be most likely a rework happening to a class at the end of this year, but it's not 100% final that it is to the Assassins. Though it does seem like it will be very likely. Now there were two intentions with this video. One of course is to just let you know that there is going to be a rework coming out and the chances of it being to Assassins is very high. But the other intent from this video was to talk more about this topic, discuss what potential Assassins might be getting the rework, what Assassins might be getting the small changes and all that good stuff. So with all that said, the question of this video is going to be, which Assassin champions do you think deserve the biggest changes or the biggest rework? And if you end up enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button. So historically, when Riot would do these big reworks to a group of champions, they would always have a handful of major reworks or champions that would receive a major change, followed by a handful of champions that would receive smaller changes. Nothing absolutely massive, but enough to still warrant them to be considered a change. First and foremost, let's look at all of the champions that Riot has listed as Assassins. These are the champions that will most likely be looked at. And this will include champions such as Kha'Zix, LeBlanc, Master Yi, Echo, Nidalee, Nocturne, Rengar, Shaco, Kassadin, Talon, Zed, Akali, Evelynn, Fizz, and Katarina. All of these champions are the ones that are classified as an assassin by Riot. Now this also begs the question, will they also include champions that have the secondary role of assassins? So for instance, someone like Diana or maybe even Yasuo. But for the sake of this video, we'll pretend that Riot will not include them. So out of all of those assassin champions mentioned, I want to go ahead and give you guys what I think are going to be the handful of champions that will get a major change or a major rework. Champions that I feel like their kit is a little bit outdated and can use a little bit of spicing up. So the first champion that I'll be talking about that I believe will get one of the major reworks is going to be Rengar. Rengar's kit is a definition of feast or famine. Either he'll be exceptionally fed and pretty much one-shot every single person in the game, or he's going to be absolutely useless and really not provide a whole lot. The playstyle of his kit is extremely linear and there really isn't a whole lot of options for doing essentially just other things or just really truly outplaying your opponent. For the most part, it's just all jump on your target, do the full combo and pray that you have enough damage to kill them. And then you just rinse and repeat. And either it'll work out fantastically or it's not going to work out whatsoever. So in my opinion, Rengar could definitely use a nice little overhaul to his kit, changing up how his overall playstyle works and feels. Following Rengar, however, I think next up is going to be Katarina. She's another champion that I feel like is pretty good of an example of an assassin, but her kit has been around for a very long time, and I feel like they're going to be spicing it up a little bit. Much like Rengar, Katarina feels like another example of a feast or famine champion, where either she'll be finding those really great opportunities in a teamfight and go off, or she's not going to do absolutely anything and be absolutely useless. Now, I don't think Katarina is as bad of an example as Rengar in terms of how useful or useless they can be, but she also does have somewhat of an outdated kit that I feel like could use a little bit of spicing up as well. And then we have Kassadin, who I'm pretty much 100% sure will be on the big changes list because, well, his kit is not only very outdated, but in the past, Riot has tried several attempts to make him feel just better of a champion. Maybe change up his ultimate, they removed his silence. They've tried various things, but especially on his ultimate, most of them did not work out very well because either it made Kassadin extremely overpowered or it did quite the opposite and made him flat out just unplayable and very weak. They have been trying for a very long time to find a good spot for Kassadin, but it hasn't been very successful, and I think it's time to change up the way his abilities work for the most part. So Kassadin, I will be very surprised if he's not listed on the big changes list for the Assassin rework if it happens to be so. The next Assassin champion that I believe will also be getting a major rework is going to be Evelynn, and she's pretty much falling into the same principle as Kassadin Kassadin. Her kit is extremely old, she's been around for a very long time, and she also could use some spicing up. Other than the fact that she can walk around invisible, her kit doesn't feel like an assassin type kit to me. Maybe this is just my personal opinion, maybe I'm absolutely wrong about this, but it doesn't feel like almost every other assassin in this game. She feels more like a dive-in type champion, maybe someone like a Pantheon, maybe someone even like a Wukong. To me, an assassin champion needs a lot of mobility and a lot of ways to get in and get out, but she doesn't really have that option. So with all that being said, I do definitely think she will also be getting the major rework. Another champion that I think definitely deserves a big overhaul of their kit is Akali. She's another example like Kassadin, who's not only been around for a long time, but someone that Riot has been trying to change up and make just overall feel better and feel more like an assassin, but it has been to some serious failure. In my mind, assassins are all about more or less difficult champions that have skill shots that have extremely high risk and high reward scenarios, but Akali doesn't really feel like that. She doesn't have any skill shot abilities, they're all targets, and I mean the fact that she's an assassin champion that has a very simple linear kit that doesn't feel like it has a lot of high risk, high reward scenarios isn't very assassin-like. So I'm 100% expecting Akali to be on the big changes list. And the final assassin champion that I think will be in the category of getting the big changes is Master Yi. Just like Kassadin and Evelynn, he's been around for a very long time. His kit is extremely linear to the point where I'm surprised he's even classified as an assassin. He's played much more like a fighter because you just dive in onto your target, press your ultimate, and just go ham until you either kill everyone or you die. He doesn't have the get in, get out type mentality. He doesn't really have any burst within his kit either. He's all about the sustained damage. So the fact that his primary role is listed as assassin is very surprising to me. But either way, with that being said, I do feel like Master Yi could use a little bit of changes to the point where he'll feel truly like an assassin but not much like a fighter. So those right there are the 6 assassin champions that I personally think deserve and most likely will receive the major changes when it comes to the assassin rework. Next up, I'll list a few champions that I feel like will get the smaller changes. Nothing absolutely major, but enough to still warrant that, you know what, this champion should be getting changed a little bit. First up is going to be Shaco. Now, when you think of an assassin champion, Shaco is a pretty good example of what an assassin champion can look like, feel like, and play like. But his kit still feels a little bit outdated. He just doesn't feel on par as to many other assassin champions at the very moment. So I can definitely expect some changes to be happening to his kit. And next up we have Talon. Now again, when you think of an assassin champion, Talon is also a pretty good example of how an assassin champion can look like, which is why I put him in the smaller changes area. But Talon, again, he is all about the flat out dive in, and he doesn't really have a whole lot of get out. So I feel like Riot might change his kit just a little bit, maybe to give him some more potential to be able to escape bad situations. Again, I don't think they'll be doing anything massive to Talon, but at least add a little bit of something. And then we have one of the most infamous assassins in League of Legends, LeBlanc. I don't think she'll receive one of the bigger changes whatsoever, but I am still predicting that she will receive some minor changes to her kit. I'm not entirely sure what they can change about her because she is a fairly good example of a mage assassin type champion, so I don't think they'll be doing anything massive. But with that being said, I'm still predicting some form of changes to be happening to her kit. Next up we have Nocturne, who I do think will be receiving the smaller changes, but to the point where he'll still feel more or less like a newish champion. Just like with Akali and Master Yi, he doesn't really feel like that much of an assassin to the point where, yeah, you dive in on your target, you don't really have a whole lot of skill shots to land because his Q isn't really all that difficult to land whatsoever. He doesn't really have any escapes in his kit, he's all about diving in on his target and just going ham until either one person dies. Again, assassin champions are all about having mobility in their kit and being able to get in and get out, and that's how Nocturne should be played as well. At the moment, he's not. But either way, guys, I was really excited to share this announcement with you because, well, I absolutely love assassin champions. They're by far my favorite types of champions to play, so when there's anything happening with these group of champions, I'm always right on it. Hopefully, Riot will decide to go with the assassin rework coming in November and not maybe change it to something else. And if they do go ahead and plan to go with it, well, these are the champions that I feel like will be getting the major and lesser reworks based on what I think about their kits. Let me know down below what you think about my thoughts, which champions you think will be getting the major changes, what champions you think will not. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, share this with your friends so that everyone else know about these assassin potential changes coming up as well. But I thank each and every one of you for watching, and I hope to see you for the next video. Peace.